personal foul.
That was absolutely ridiculous.
The Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
Up on down. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series.
I don't know. It's tough. Tom's up there, man. Beantown.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Beantown Takes podcast. There's been so many, so right now I've lost track of how many I've done. But before I put on the camera, we do have a special guest here. You guys have not seen him in a long time. And guess who's here? Look who's here!
What's going on, guys?
He's back. He's been busy for the most part. How's things going?
Going good. We're just working like a dog.
Yep, I know. Yeah, we've been trying to get you over here for a while now to get back on here and whatnot. And channel's doing great. The website's doing great. The Brooklyn Nets video that I did is at 37,000.
Wow.
And we've had some reactions too that's hit 500 views, 400 views. I mean, we've been doing pretty good here. So like,
nice.
And
good.
It's good to see you. Good to see you here. Good to see that you're doing well and all.
Of course. Same as with you.
Yep. And we got a lot to talk. We got Celtics to talk about. I went to the finals last night.
Yep.
That was phenomenal. You guys have seen the video. That will be up Thursday. This will probably be up either Friday or Saturday. Let's get your thoughts. How the Celtics look so far?
Dude, I'm telling you, I got Celtics in 6.
I agree.
I don't think that the Warriors are gonna go down, pretty easy. I think that they're gonna give some fight. I think they have at least one more steal in them. I think they might get some pride when they go back home. But I think Celtics win both the next games at home and take it in 6.
The reasoning for that, it's got a lot to do with you guys. You guys are in the Warriors' head. You are living in their head rent-free right now. We will get into what I'm talking about there. But since, I would say, January 8th, I actually went to that game. That was the New York Knicks game. They have played, I think you could say for yourself, a lot better basketball.
Oh, yeah.
We've been ranting on them for the turnovers, the one-on-one play or whatnot.
No assists.
No assists, and like a countless amount of turnovers. And I've been saying on podcasts that I've been doing for myself while you were gone, is that a lot of these players have finally bought into their role.
Yes.
And I went as far as saying myself, don't trade Marcus Smart. I went back to that trend there. I obviously it fits a like Luka Doncic for Marcus Smart type deal. I'm just saying hypothetically, if you're getting so much out of the deal for Marcus Smart, then yes. But like I would say if you're getting a smidge better, or if you're getting somebody just as good but like more years, I would hang on to him.
I would too.
Yep. Oh, you changed that thought process now. Yeah.
Like you said, unless you're getting somebody who is going to be a big upgrade to the point where like it's a no doubt or no brainer. Like you would have to be in a coma, who hasn't seen the game and who hasn't seen Celtics basketball in 50 years. Then maybe.
Yep.
But like. He's playing pretty good. He's a leader, and I think Udoka's finally got into him and said, "Hey, like your role right now is to be a leader of the court. I need you to not think about yourself first." But I think Tatum and Brown have also bought in the role.
Absolutely,
they're gonna drive.
I've been saying that too.
If they get doubled up, they kick it out. Smart's gonna be there for the he'll shoot the open 3, and you know what? You can't knock him for shooting an open 3.
Nope. And,
so shooter's gonna shoot.
And what I've been saying is Tatum, I don't think he sniffed over 4 assists a game his whole entire career. I think this year, at least for the second half, he's blown that away with at least, I think, 6.5 or whatever. So look, he's been passing the ball a lot more, which you need. You need this team to be a team, to play like a team, because if you don't, We've seen what happens when you don't play like a team. You get blown out of the water. And I know we've been making fun of the Celtics for the last year and a half up to this point, but we genuinely wanted to see this team play good because of how talented this team is. And this season, the second half, they've shown it. They've really shown it. And one team I can't say the same with that are the Boston Bruins. I can't believe the shift of, how do I put it, audacity this team has gone to. Bruce Cassidy getting fired shows how weak this team is becoming.
Nah, I mean, I think that Bruce is just a tough coach to play for, and maybe that's because they're mentally weak and soft, or maybe that's for the fact of he's just not the fit personality wise.
Well, that's my point. Bruce Cassidy has made the playoffs all 6 years as a head coach. He had 100+ points each and every year. Even this year, as hard as I've been on them for saying they haven't looked the same, so on and so forth, they still had 50+ wins and 100 points in the regular season. Took Carolina to 7 games, Carolina is a great hockey team. And you fire the coach because he was too mean to Jake DeBrusk and Jack Studnicka and their fail of a draft picks from 2015? Laughable.
Well, I don't think it's just them either. I don't think that. I think it's also. I think he lost the locker room with, I don't think that Halsey can play with him. I don't think he's. I think Bergeron and Marchand might have finally got to the point where they're over playing for him, and they need a new coach. And that's even if they even come back.
If Cam Neely and Don Sweeney said it's time for a new voice, then I'm okay with it because it has been 6 years or whatnot. But to say that you're firing him because of the decisions that you've made is ridiculous. That is absolutely absurd. We got to start Celtics. We're going to be getting some debates. And when we hit the Patriots, though, there have been a lot of people asking a question that somebody here has to answer. And we'll get into that later on.
Well, I've been a fan of Boston Celtics for, my whole life pretty much.
My first Celtics game was back when I was 7.
The Boston Celtics became legendary.
Alright, so we start off with the Celtics. Here. And we're two wins away from Banner 18. And I can't wait for more Celtics games next year. I've already gave them the timeout for the Bruins, so that unless there's a turnaround and whatnot, nothing there. So you gave your thoughts on the Celtics earlier. Who has been the biggest improvement so far for the Celtics this year?
I think I have to go with Rob Will.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Robert Williams because the defense that he brings in the inside, in the interior, it really has an impact on the game. People don't drive on him. He can play defense on the wing. He can play inside, obviously, and I think that his shot blocking ability and defensive presence on the inside is what's making this team better. I think he's pushing people to play better on defense. I think that he's being a defensive cornerstone. I know Marcus Smart was Defensive Player of the Year, but I think that Robert Williams is really pushing them because of the high energy they get from his defensive play.
The easy answer is obviously Jason Tatum because he elevated his game to not just shoot threes and whatnot or one-on-one. He's elevated his game defensively, playmaking, and so on and so forth, and even toughness in the paint, grabbing rebounds and whatnot. But you actually just mentioned my answer. My answer is Marcus Smart because before he would think that he is that guy. He is Steph Curry. He's the one that should be the quote unquote. I mean, he is the leader, but he thought before that he was the guy, and he's just not the guy. Obviously, he's bought in his role by being a point guard, like a legitimate point guard who can make a difference on offense, and at the same time became Defensive Player of the Year, like you said. I think it's Marcus Smart, and his trade value really has gone through the roof after the season for the Celtics.
Yeah, he really has stepped it up. And, being a point guard is about passing. It should be about passing first. And I think he's finally got that mentality of being able to give the ball up, dish it out, and not need the ball 24/7.
So, I got to ask you, because realistically, I personally think that the Celtics defense has been good for the most part. That really wasn't the main issue with this team. What was the biggest issue that the Celtics had before? Was it the turnovers? Was it the one-on-one playmaking? Was it not being engaged at times? Like, what problem? What was the biggest problem that they solved to get this run?
I think the move of Brad into the office and getting Udoka. I'm not gonna. I
actually didn't think you were gonna go there.
I think the coaching change. I think that they had a coach that they finally wanted to play for, that bought in, that they bought into, and actually listens. And I also think he has the experience of knowing what a locker room is like in the NBA because of the fact that he played in the NBA and he's been around so many different locker rooms. And he's a professional basketball player first, on top of being a coach. So he knows how to play. He knows what needs to be done. He knows the experience of how to get people to buy in. And he's seen, he's played for a bunch of different coaches and coached with a bunch of them. So I think that he brings a mentality of knowing how to talk to these guys, and with the connection, with the relationship he had before he even got the job.
So I'm glad you actually went the upscale route, because now I'm gonna go the upscale route. The biggest issue that they got rid of was Danny Ainge, because he doesn't trade Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, and first-round pick for Derek White. He doesn't trade back for Daniel Tice, who made a difference in the second half of the season too, with his defense as well. He doesn't do that, and Brad Stevens did. He got pieces that he traded away pieces that were helping, right? But he traded them away to get better. And on top of that, the biggest move that nobody is talking about, that I even hated, and I am getting hate on from my dad from it, and I deserve it, is getting Al Horford back. That is probably the biggest move Brad Stevens made.
Yeah, I honestly, when you were talking about the move that Brad Stevens made, I was go, you better not forget about Al Horford here.
I know, I was talking about Moses Brown or whatever.
I know. But yeah, no, getting Al Horford back is huge. And I don't know if that's just because maybe this is Al Horford's last run at it, and he knows that he has a shot because he's playing out of his mind, and not like he's 35. He's playing like he's 25.
He really rejuvenated his career this year,
especially with the Milwaukee series. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's just this is he knows this is the last run, so he's gonna give it his all. He's gonna unload the tank, and maybe he'll talk about retirement if they win it all. But I just think
he's got that toughness, and he's got
that grit.
Yep, he's got that grit. You know who don't got that grit? The Golden State Warriors. Have you heard what they've been saying all night long last night? Oh, they were going off about how the fans were saying, F you, Draymond. You're a bitch, Draymond. Complaining about everything. Like, this is the finals. You've played in Memphis. Probably great fans. I don't know any Memphis Grizzlies fans. Denver fans, well, I know a couple Denver Nuggets fans. They seem chill. And you played Dallas. But when you come into the road in Boston, to play at TD Garden especially, playing on the road at TD Garden is like, you're a Yankee fan, is like playing at Yankee Stadium in the playoffs. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling the fact that they don't understand the game of basketball and how competitive it gets, and the fact that, yeah, you know what?
Here's a guy right here that was in the mix of all the antics, whatnot in his time. Paul Pierce, Laker fans, Knicks fans, probably Miami fans, Cleveland fans, so on and so forth. We've never heard from these guys say, "Real classy, bro. Real classy." Like, they understand it. That's part of the game. It's just a part of the game. And you fans were not crossing the line whatsoever last night to Draymond Green. If you're saying racial things to him or something about his family, whatever, fine. But you were not going out of the lines last night whatsoever.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the best moment from last year's playoffs, like we talked about earlier, was Game 7 in Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
With the Hawks.
Trae Young.
Where he played the villain card, and you had all Madison Square Garden saying "F you, Trae Young."
Yep.
Like, that was probably the coolest moments, and he loved that moment, and you didn't hear him say anything about that moment, about them, oh, why are they saying that to me? Like, I mean, he led and he leaned into being the villain.
I'm going to play.
And it still bleeds into this year.
I'm going to play Klay Thompson's clip, Steve Kerr's clip, and then I'm going to also throw a quick little screenshot of Draymond Green's wife, too, complaining about the fans and their taunts, whatever.
It was not a factor. We've played in front of rude people before, dropping F-bombs with children in the crowd. Real classy. Good job, Boston.
Your thoughts on the crowd's response to him all night?
On the crowd's response to Draymond? Classy. Very classy.
David Aldridge, The Athletic. Steph, you've heard over the years fans getting on Draymond for various things. What did you think of the chants tonight and the frequency of the chants?
Par for the course. Every arena you kind of get a little something. It's been like that the whole playoffs, and every run we've made over the course of he expects it. So no different tonight.
Is just what was your reaction to the crowd's chants that were directed to you throughout the game?
No, they're just talking. It's not really my job to react to them. So they did what I expected.
At a second row.
Draymond, do you kind of embrace the opposing fans looking at you as the villain in a way that do you feed off of it in a way that it takes some pressure maybe, or some of that attention off some of your teammates? Is that something that fuels you and can be something that you use?
Yeah, definitely. I embrace it. I enjoy it. I didn't really feed off of it tonight. I don't think I fed off much tonight. But yeah, that's something that I enjoy. They waste a lot of energy talking to me, so it's great. It's great. Looking forward to Friday.
Was in the news all day today and last night. Just what's your reaction to kind of the crowd in Boston? I know they've gotten a little bit of criticism. What's your response to kind of how that all played out last night?
I want fans to enjoy themselves. I mean, of course, as the league office, you want to see it done with respect for all the participants, but I get it. I love the energy that the Boston fans bring.
You guys are in it. You guys are in their head. And this team they are not taking your trash talking as motivation. They're whining about it. So come out in Game 4 with the same attitude, because it's clear as day they can't handle it.
No, they can't. Not at all.
No. And what else was I gonna say about the Warriors? They just seem they seem aged or whatever? Because they don't look the same as a couple of years ago when I would go see them with Kevin Durant and whatnot.
Yeah, you know, I think Steph Curry's still playing top of his game because of the fact that
absolutely
his game.
That's
isn't
the
physical,
one guy who I will say.
But you know, when you have an all-time great player as in Kevin Durant playing with you, it's very hard to not look aged because of the fact that like you still have. You know, you had Clay before his injury who would shoot lights out. You had Steph who would shoot lights out. You have Kevin Durant who can play all over the court. You know, I don't think that they looked old, but it seems like the young players aren't there yet to step up, like Pooley and Gary Payton.
Yep.
They're not there yet. You know, they haven't grown up just yet enough to be able to be true factors. But with that being said, you know, the old timers there.
Yep.
They're looking rough.
Oh, especially Clay. I mean, he dropped 25 last night, but still, in this series, my God, has he looked horrid. He's looked horrible in this postseason, in the finals so far. And he really hasn't, and that's probably because he hasn't had a tough matchup on defense either. I mean, he's got Jaylen Brown really covering for the most part. He's got him switching with Marcus Smart. I mean, they've had tough tasks. So, I mean, I think this has been the hardest team the Warriors have faced this postseason. Denver was out Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. Memphis lost Ja Morant halfway in the series. Then you had a Dallas team who, let's be real, that was a miracle that they got into the Western Conference Final. I mean, they have Luka Doncic. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie's all right, but like other than them two, Jalen Brunson. I can't forget about Jalen Brunson. Other than them three, really, they don't have any defense. They don't have any. They're not as talented as the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors have had an easy road, in my opinion, for the most part. I feel like if they've played Phoenix... Wait, was Phoenix a second-round exit? Yeah, they were a second-round exit. If they played Phoenix, that series would have probably been a whole different series. But one more thing about Draymond Green. Normally, I agree when a player says they're calling you out of your name or whatever. Like, we've seen Kyrie complain about the fans calling him a bitch, F you, and all that. And, I made a video saying he's done that to himself, and sometimes when I hear players say like they've called me out of their names, like there's sometimes where LeBron's done that, Isaiah Thomas has done that for the most part, and I normally agree with them. But if you're saying that the fans called Draymond Green out of his name or whatnot, I can't give you that because of his complaining on the court too. He just comes off as a bitch. Could you agree with that, or am I being crazy saying that?
I just don't understand. You know, if any of the Celtics players ran their mouths like they did to the refs, like he does every single second of every single game, they'd be getting teched up every single time.
And I'd be saying the same thing about the Celtics players too. Stop bitching and whining, and that's all Draymond does is bitch and whine. He could have easily had 2 technicals last night. He's lucky he made it that far in the game, and possibly longer. But we got to move on from that. You said Celtics in 6, right?
I got Celtics in 6 at home.
Hopefully you're not working for that. We can hit the parade. If they win Game 3, right? And the Warriors look that demoralizing like they did last night, complaining. If we give them that same intensity, I actually agree with Barstool Sports CEO Dave Portnoy. Celtics in 5. I think Celtics in 5 could be a real possibility if this keeps up with the way it's been going. What are your thoughts on how the Celtics have to play in order to get this finals? Do they have to play like they did last night, or do you think they could improve on anything? Or
I think that they just need to come out in the first and third quarters with a punch, because when they get slow starts they lose. When they get hot, when they start off, feeling it out of both at the beginning of the game and then after halftime, then they can get after it, and they do pretty well. But it just seems that when they get very slow, a slow start in the third, that's usually the games that they lose, because they'll be up by 18.5, and the next thing you know, now they're tied halfway through the third.
The third quarter's been awful for them. I mean, last night too, I was getting worried. I was getting worried in the third quarter when they went on a 7-0 run in one possession, by the way, and then they just lit the doors open and whatnot. But how about the fans last night though at the game? That was unreal, wasn't it? You watched the second half.
Yep.
I wish you saw the first half, because the energy there was like no tomorrow. It was a regular season game will never be the same for me after that. I don't even think the first round or the second round of the playoffs will ever be the same for me again after watching it last night, because how loud it was all night long. I really felt like I was at Gillette Stadium when Tom Brady was here. That's how loud it was for the most part. Too bad tickets are so expensive, because if you guys definitely, if you basketball fans, right, should definitely experience a finals game at some point. Reasonable cost at least, because I was close to the action, because like I don't sit nosebleed or whatnot. I've had so many bad experiences in nosebleed where like I was sweating hot or whatever, being the last row or whatever. Well, I'm just like, screw this, nah, I'm good. But man, what an experience that was, for real. I mean, I can't describe it. You guys got, I mean, even my video that I'm gonna be uploading on Thursday will not do justice for what it was. Dead serious. We actually have an A team turning it around a little bit. He's giving me a look, because I think he knows where I'm gonna be going with this. The Red Sox are finally over 500. I'm not saying that they're gonna catch up to you guys, because you guys are actually looking amazing this season. But between them, Toronto, and the Red Sox, between them, Toronto, and the Rays, they are creeping up on them a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the battery for Boston.
All right, Red Sox over 500. They are 30-27. I mean, they've looked okay. I think
their record is better than
what they've been.
I
would have to agree with that. I mean, regardless, you're still in it. You're somehow still in it. Your bullpen still needs a lot of help. Your offense doesn't look that well. Your starting pitching is questionable too. I mean, there's still some issues that you need to kind of put together. Michael Walker stepped up. Who pitched last night? I forget who pitched last night, but Evaldi has been himself. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're in the wild card picture right now, but I still think that you're gonna have a problem in the wild card round and the first round, like the ALDS, if you make it that far. They have to be some competition in order for me to gain like, okay, now we're actually a competitive team again. Now we're actually legit back in this. I mean, on paper, you're back in it right now, but I need to see more. And
I mean, for the most part, you're only back in it because the Angels have gone on a historically bad run.
Yeah. I sent you a video. The Angels in the outfield when they were losing. You go, and it's a big bummer. No matter who we play, we give the game away because we can't win. That's the Angels right now. That is literally the Angels right now. And you play Seattle coming up. I don't know how good Seattle's been. Have they been good so far, or?
Yeah, they flirt with the wild card, but that's they play better than their record. Like they're a better team than their record shows.
Okay, so you got Seattle coming up. That would kind of mean something to me if you beat Seattle.
Yep.
Then you play Oakland, I believe, here in Boston. You should have no problem there, obviously. Then you play St. Louis. I think St. Louis is in the mix too, for the most part. I mean, they're a good team, aren't they?
I mean, I think it's just St. Louis is overrated as always, but they're somewhere in the mix.
Okay, so that would kind of mean something.
They're in the top of their division.
Okay, that would mean something. And then you got Detroit. I mean, if you're starting to actually finally beat teams that you should be beating, that's a sign too. But like, I'll pull up on my phone because
I just think that there's too many holes in this team for them to feel confident in. And I know Chris Sale is somewhat might be coming back eventually. But again, I said this last year, and I'm gonna say it again.
Yep.
Chris Sale should go to the bullpen.
I know. I mean,
I think if you can get Chris Sale to pitch, 4 days a week for you instead of one, every 5 games, I think he'll be more effective for you. Especially for the fact of how bad their bullpen is. And, obviously Chris Sale over Rich Hill is a much better upgrade.
Yep.
But what are you gonna do with Rich Hill? You gonna move Rich Hill to the bullpen? Or are you gonna
I really think that's their plan. I think their plan is to move Rich Hill to the bullpen.
But
he
Rich
did
Hill,
that last year.
But Rich Hill in the bullpen
Mets.
isn't good.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's what the New York Mets did last year. That's what Rich Hill has done for the past seasons because of how old he is. I really think that's their plan with Rich Hill. I really do.
See, that's just mind-blowing to me because, like I said, the fact of I just don't think that his game is good enough that, if you need, say the game before your opening pitcher just got his doors blown off and you use a big bullpen day, and then Rich Hill comes, then Pivetta pitches and he gets jammed up in the 4th. You're going to trust Rich Hill to come in?
I'm not.
No, nobody
I'm not.
will.
He's had a down year this year. He's been pounded. And I think that has to do with him throwing an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, I feel like.
Yeah, probably. but it just feels like that this seems to be their last year to do anything because Bogarts is a good option out, right?
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that because I have a lot of questions to ask you on that.
And this is Devers' last year under arbitration?
Next year.
Next year is?
Yes, it is.
So still, you have, possibly one of your star players optioned out. You have only a year and a half left of your other star player. This seems to be the last of their run. And they have to either load up now or, I would start trading them. Get ahead of it. Trade them.
They're going to make great trades like trading a 30 home run guy and RBI, a 30 home run guy and a 100 RBI guy for the worst hitter in baseball. That's the moves they're going to make.
Whoa. Best offensive player.
Yes, okay. Yeah, but...
Hey, remember what you were told when you were 5 years old for baseball? Defense wins championships.
They ain't winning shit right now with Jackie Bradley. Has Jackie Bradley have even made any defensive highlights this year? Like, I can't even think of any.
They were too heavy on the right-handed bats.
Renfroe, no. They had
Bogarts, they had Renfroe, they had Martinez, they had Vasquez, they had Dahlbeck.
Okay, but like, that's just so analytic-y.
And you have Kike.
That's so analytic-y though. It's like, I'd rather have the 30 home run guy. Oh, we need left-handed bats. So you get the worst one? The worst one!
Is Marwin Gonzalez a switch hitter?
Yeah, he is a switch hitter. Yeah,
and Marwin Gonzalez is having a better
season
by WAR, if you count WAR, than Trevor Story.
Okay, now we're gonna get into this. I don't think you have been on this podcast since the Trevor Story signing.
No.
So let me get your thoughts on the Trevor Story signing because I'll give my thoughts on it in a second because I wrote an article saying stop being cheap.
So if you want me to do, at first, I was part of like oh wow, they actually did something. They actually got somebody. They actually got a top 10 free agent.
Yep.
But now it seems like that seems to be the wrong move here.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fact of I just think it's the fact that so there was no need, and like I said, I thought the reason why they got him.
I agree. By the way,
I thought the reason they got him was so they could move Bogarts to second because Bogart is shaky on shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what and Trevor Story is a Gold Glove finalist almost every year.
Yep.
I said okay, maybe that makes sense because of the fact is you want to we want to save Bogarts, keep his legs under him for the whole season, switch him to second. Usually, a lot of guys have a better tendencies when they switch from shortstop to second base because there's a lot less pressure.
Yep.
You see that this year with Gleyber Torres down in New York. But if you're going to pay somebody that much, and you're not going to keep your homegrown star players,
what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point of it? And I actually thought I had a different thought, but I had a different opinion. I had the oh wow too, right? But the other way. My oh wow thought was, really? Out of all the top free agents on the market, you get the one guy that you do not need? You needed an outfielder. You needed an outfielder on this team. You needed relief help. You needed starting pitching after Chris Sale went down. This was the guy you got. And don't get me wrong, his bat is good. But
or so we thought.
So we thought. But like you said, he is a bona fide shortstop. And yes, he was willing to move to second base this year. What's it look like after that? Is he gonna stay at second base, or does he want to move back to shortstop? We don't know that answer. But if he wants to move back to shortstop, you just push Xander Bogaerts out the door. That's my opinion, because Xander Bogaerts has been the shortstop of the Red Sox since he's got here. I think it's wrong to move him from a position where he's been brought up through the system to another position just because you got somebody else in there. I mean, if he's on... It has to be his decision if he wants to move. Not the ownership, not the staff, not the coaching, but his. And you just potentially pushed him out the door getting Trevor Story, and if he wants to move back to shortstop.
So going into next season, right? After this offseason going into next season, Xander Bogaerts will be 30?
I think so. I will get that answer for you in a second.
I do believe Xander Bogaerts is 29 now, so
I believe he is
29 going on 30.
I believe he is 29 right now.
Yeah, so he'll be 30. He'll be 30 because he's born October 1st.
Okay, yep.
Okay, so he'll be 30 before the end of the season. So I can understand them wanting to move on, not wanting to pay. Bogaerts is probably going to want an 8-year contract by 30, at least.
I mean, see,
I understand that, because he's going to be able to command what more than he's going to make if he opts into his contract.
See, the only thing I can say about that is this. His leadership, his talent, and his personality in the clubhouse or whatever, right? I even have it on my article here. Is irreplaceable for the most part. And the loyalty that Xander Bogaerts has had with his team, who, by the way, is giving you every chance you can to keep him around. Because he wants to stay here. He loves Boston. He loves the Red Sox. He loves the organization. He loves the players and all that. You don't see that often in sports. You got Kobe, you got Curry, and who else has stuck around with a team for the most part? And
Derek Jeter, Mo Rivera.
But like Big Papi. But like
Big Papi didn't stick around.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. He started with Minnesota, but still, I mean, stay loyal with one team, and wanted to stay loyal to that one team. I mean, you see it happen, but like, it's not. It's a small number of players that you see that from, and adding with his talent that he has, as good as he is, I just don't see how you can let a guy go like that. And I'm going to add this as well. If Bogaerts is gone, you know who that means is gone too?
You?
Well, maybe. But Rafael Devers. Because he's buddy-buddy with Xander Bogaerts. And if he sees the way they've treated Bogaerts, they're going to say, well, how are they going to treat me then? So I think he's potentially out the door too if Xander Bogaerts leaves.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But so what happens if Bogaerts goes to like the Yankees? Because they're kind of in need of a shortstop, of an all-star shortstop. Would you
Okay, hold on.
Would you contemplate?
Wait. Don't ask me. I know what you're asking me.
Would you contemplate switching to the dark side? If he were to come join us.
I'm going to say no, but you might be able to see me in a Xander Bogaerts Yankee uniform, though.
Nice. Okay, that's all I care about.
Because I will give the Red Sox the same treatment as I did with the Celtics. You gave up a player who done everything for your organization, who wanted to be loyal to your team, and did not give a crap about it. So, on that note, I'm rooting for the player instead of the team. That's the route I'd be going with. That's my answer.
Fair.
So, it was the same thing when the Celtics traded Paul Pierce. They traded Paul Pierce, right, away. I rooted for Paul Pierce for a long time, right, over the Celtics. Paul Pierce was getting to the end of his career, kind of retiring, right? I went with my second player for the time being until the Celtics made some changes or whatever, and that was with LeBron James. So that's kind of the route I would go if Xander Bogaerts leaves Boston. That's kind of where I would go with that.
Okay, that's fair. I still think
like I'd be still a fan of the Red Sox. Don't get me wrong, but like if it came to like the player that's done a lot for us, right? I'd go with the player. I'd honestly probably go with the player.
All right, I think the season for the Sox is over already.
Oh wow, that's a big take.
Coffin already. By over, I mean they're not winning it, and if they're not going to win
the championship,
if not win the World Series, then like what's what I mean? What's the point of having a season if you're not going to win it? As a top market team, if you're not going to win,
especially if you're not going to sign Bogaerts, you're not going to sign Devers, you're not going to sign JD because JD's a free agent too.
Exactly.
Nathan Eovaldi is a free agent too.
And so if you want to be, we're going to free up all this money. I don't think he was going to come play for you because the way you treated Bogaerts and Devers.
Well, that's what I said in my article too. Because like I mentioned, like if they screw this up with Bogaerts, right? Their future could go down the tubes immediately.
Yes.
It could go down the tubes immediately because again, who's going to want to play for you if you're gonna have to pay big money if players want to play for you. If players want to play for you. You know Trevor Story. I know his contract is big, right? But it's not as big as I thought he was going to get. Why? Because he wanted to play with Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts is a guy who gets players to come play for them. Who's gonna want to play for the Red Sox if they don't have anybody to play with, pretty much?
Yep, true.
So that's pretty much the Red Sox right now. do we want to talk about the? I'm not even gonna say the big bad Bruins because they're just the bad Bruins.
I think we skip right over them.
Okay,
Go straight to the Patriots.
We'll skip straight to them because
Bruins.
I pretty much covered them for the most part with my reaction when Bruce Cassidy got fired, and we said it in the opening take. So they don't need any more.
No,
they don't need any more from us.
They don't deserve it.
So we move to the Patriots, and there's actually only one thing we have to bring up for the Patriots, and we might need a little refresh. You might need a little refresher on it, but we're gonna get into it.
Michael, what? Are you ready for some football?
I love the Patriots.
All right, so for the Patriots, you guys are probably not gonna expect this, but like, there's one thing we gotta say on the Patriots. Well, actually, you guys have been asking. My dad's been asking. Mike, if you don't remember, let me give you a refresher real quick. We made a little bet at the beginning of last season. Do you remember that bet?
I do.
It's gonna be close. I have you over 500 at least. He doesn't. He has you at 5-11. That is absolutely disrespectful, in my opinion.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, I want a shirt that says, like a speech bubble that says 5-11, and then me with a big clown face.
Okay,
with the big clown hair and the nose and the makeup.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
You know what? I'll be the first one to wear. You know what?
If they go under 500, do it for me. Same thing for me.
Know what we'll do? We'll go into Boston.
Yep.
I'll wear a whole clown outfit and I'll hold the sign that says 5-11. I'll wear a whole clown outfit and I'll hold the sign that says 5-11.
I'll wear a whole clown outfit and I'll hold the sign that says 5-11.
We'll take my picture somewhere and we'll take that picture and we'll slap it on there. Maybe we'll go to Foxborough. We'll go in front of Gillette Stadium and I'll hold the 5-11.
Do I want to do that extreme?
I will go that extreme. All right.
Okay.
Folks.
The people have been wanting to know. So I'm gonna ask for them. When are we getting that game?
Now that we've just checked the schedule has come out and the games have been announced for each day. I'm gonna go with Christmas Eve for a Christmas present for the fans.
I like that.
We're gonna go with the Patriots against the Bengals. We'll make it a little Christmas present for everybody for that game.
You know what would be good about that too?
See some Joey Burt.
And that would probably just past the trade deadline, wouldn't it?
No, trade deadline's in October.
Oh, okay.
It's usually the end of October.
Really? Is that early?
It's usually by week 8, which is
wow.
First week in November.
Forget that.
Halloween.
But
no, this game will have playoff implications as well because this is going to be week 15 or 16.
Yep.
So it's going to be pretty late in the season. So the Patriots only have one more home game. After that, it'll be the Dolphins on New Year's Day. So it's going to have a game that has some playoff implications for every team but the Patriots.
Yep.
Because the Patriots will go 6-11. I will run that prediction back.
I'm not betting. I'm taking my WY.
You're not gonna run it back.
No, I'm not. I'm taking my WY can
run it back
because I'm taking the under too. I do not think that they're going to be doing anything because you've obviously been following the news for the Patriots. What have they done? What have they done this year?
I mean, you know what? I will say I do like the Devontae Parker pickup.
I do too.
I think with Devontae Parker is a legitimate. Well, he's a borderline one.
My only issue is him being on the field. He's kind of like a Nelson Aguilar for the most part.
Yeah, but Devontae Parker can actually make catches. He actually catches. He doesn't drop.
He doesn't drop
the ball as much as Aguilar.
I
don't know Devontae Parker being known as someone who drops passes.
Okay. I don't watch too many Dolphins games, so I wouldn't know.
I mean, the past 2 years, he's kind of him and with Tua is kind of.
Have they actually?
He's been the reason why they won most of those games.
Wow. Okay.
Because he has some big plays where they'll pick up long conversions. Remember he had that one.
I've been saying
he had that one last year where it was like 3rd and 3, and I forget if it was Jalen, if it was Mills or if it was Jonathan Jones, but one of them were playing off of him. He did a slant across the middle and caught it and picked up like 10 yards out of it.
Yep.
If over, a pretty quick slant. So he can make moves. He can catches and he can get you first downs.
Okay, all right.
He's a big
As
target.
I've
And
been
he's
saying,
a big
if
body
you guys
target.
want Devontae Parker as a move that the Patriots had,
And they got him for what, a
that's
third
fine.
or fourth? They got it for pretty cheap.
I think so. Yeah, it was something like that.
But what the moves that they have done, or the non-moves they've done, versus what the AFC East and frankly the rest of the AFC.
Well, that's what I've said too.
So, but like I said, you know what? Like, let's see what Mac does. I'm very curious to see who's going to be the coordinator.
That's been my big thing. Is either a dude who had the 31st best offense in the league, or the dude who got ran out of town in Detroit. That's what I've been saying so far for the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
No, or they do have a legitimate offensive coordinator candidate internally, Nikki Haley.
Okay, I did not know that.
He was the...
See, this is why I like having a second guy on here, because he gives me information that I'm lacking sometimes.
Haley I think he was a tight ends coach under McDaniels, because McDaniels a quarterbacks coach. But he was kind of like known to be McDaniels' guy in the offensive room for the coaches.
Yep.
So, but you know what I mean? I think it's one of those things that if they do pass on him and they do give it to
Joe Judge
or Matt Patricia, I think you might see Nikki Haley jump ship and go to the Raiders.
Yep.
Because, like I said, I think that McDaniels will always find room for Haley, because I think that he likes him that much, and he knows that he's that good.
Let me get a grade on the Patriots offseason. What do you got? What do you got him as? I have my grade on here for. Do I have my grade on here on my article? I believe I do. If not, I'll say it. After hit.
I will say at most. At the highest. This is really tough for me to give him this high of a grade, I think. But I think the highest grade I'm going to have to give him is an F- on this offseason.
You know, I have to agree with you.
It's an F-.
I have to agree with you. I mean, they had a big opportunity, this free agency market, to really put them over the edge, and they didn't do it. And then the draft, don't get me started with the draft, getting Cole Strange at 29.
Did you hear the video of McVay and
I did.
Their GM
I'm reading it on my article right now. It had people laughing at them, including Sean McVay.
He thought McVay, and I think his name was Lesson Need or something like that.
He was projected to be a third-round pick.
They thought they were getting him in the third, fourth round.
And that's who you waste your first-round pick on? I mean...
But, they also laughed at them when they drafted Duggar.
Yeah.
It wasn't Duggar the first pick in the second round?
I think he was.
A couple years ago. And,
maybe.
He's a decent player. He's not bad.
But I think Cole Strange is like 24 already, something like that.
Probably.
my point proven even more. But, I mean...
Well, he's also an offensive lineman, though, so, you need somebody, big body.
No, right, I get that. I mean, let's play into factor here. If teams around you didn't get better and you did what you did, then maybe all right. But you showed zero competition last year in the playoffs, and it was clear as day that you needed to get better. And to your point, last year was last year fluke, because they played towards the end of the season. They played teams that were fully healthy, and it was dogfights. There was dogfights, and most of the time they lose. So, what was this reasoning for playing well last year? Was it injuries, or was it actually the team itself? Because now I don't know. You've been saying it's injuries, and I'm starting to kind of see your point that it was injuries.
And the fact that they went 1-4 against teams over 500 down the stretch.
It was something like that. Oh, you're talking about the end of the season.
The end of the season.
Yeah.
When teams actually were, in playoff form. I'm gonna try. I want to see that. But I'm trying to remember who they played at the end of the season. It was the Colts. I remember we watched that game.
Lost.
Where they
blown
got
out.
where that was as bad. The Dolphins, which I told everybody always tell that they can't play.
They're gonna lose in Miami. Yep.
They always lose in Miami.
You predicted that.
I don't have time to tell people that.
Yep. You won one against Buffalo, which was.
You split Buffalo. Yep.
You split Buffalo. Yep. We didn't think that was gonna happen.
So
but...
all right. So. Oh wait, that was. They don't have last year's anymore. They got rid of last year's.
They got rid of last year's already?
Yeah.
Holy crap. It was that embarrassing of a season that they were like, yeah, no, we don't want to keep it on here. If you look up Patriots season.
Yeah, I'm looking up right now.
There you go. Yep, you got it.
All right, so.
Yeah, they played the Bills and they played the Colts.
So they played the Dolphins.
Yep.
And they lost. The
Yep.
I'm not even counting the Jaguars. Like,
nah.
But the Bills, they lost.
You're off that Trevor Lawrence train that you were on?
No. Trevor Lawrence will still have a better career than Mac Jones. Just because he's in a worse system doesn't mean that he will have a bad.
No, I was making fun of your Trevor Lawrence Tom Brady thing or whatever from the year ago. That's what I was going with, but
I think Trevor Lawrence is the only one who could give Tom Brady or Peyton Manning the run for it to join their. But that's also
okay. That's different. That's completely different than what you said.
Wait, what did I say last year?
You said last year. It was me, you, and Dylan. I remember on the podcast, and you were like, in my mind already, he's the greatest football player that ever laced up the game.
If Trevor Lawrence went to a team that was built to win now, that team would have won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
If Trevor Lawrence went to the Rams and played over Stafford, if he went to the Bucs and played over Tom Brady,
I can kind of see that.
If he went to Cincinnati and played over Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence would have won a ring in his first year.
It was just the way that you put it last year. That's what was funny about it.
Okay, but all right. So the last 5 teams that they played that were over 500, it was the Titans, who were without Derrick Henry.
Yep.
They probably
yeah.
I think they were out of AJ Brown too that game.
They were out of AJ Brown.
You beat the Bills in the game that Mac Jones threw 2 passes.
Yeah, the wind was like 100 miles per hour or whatever it was.
Yeah, so that's whatever. You played the Colts and for the most part got your doors blown off by the Colts.
Yep.
And Jonathan Taylor.
We watched that game here and
the
I was
Bills
like,
came in and blew off your doors at home.
Yep.
You played Jacksonville, which is Jacksonville, so you can't really count them.
Yep.
Then you lost to Miami, who I don't think Miami was even 500.
They were 1 game under 500.
But they still it looked like they were kicking your butt the entire game.
And then
you went to Buffalo and you got destroyed. But
yep. So with how they looked last year at the end of the season, with clear needs, obviously a number 1 wide receiver, maybe the defense getting a little bit better, whatnot. The O-line needing improvement. You really didn't really fill the needs in that, really. Would you say?
No, I honestly think that you might see Mac Jones seriously get hurt this year.
I
think he's a tough kid, and from what I've heard is that people are saying that he's putting on a lot of muscle.
Yep.
But now Buffalo has a very serious edge rusher that they just added in Von Miller.
Yep.
You're playing.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even add that in my article.
Yeah, they got Von Miller. You play the Chargers this year, right?
I think you do. Yeah, I believe you do. I believe you play them on the road.
If you play the Chargers, they got Khalil Mack. I know you're playing the AFC North, so you're playing the Ravens.
Yep.
Who
Ravens here.
Ravens are tough. You're playing the Browns with Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, and some of those kids they just got from Oklahoma are some tough SOBs.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm gonna name all the teams that got better. Miami, Tyreek Hill. Colts, actually getting a quarterback in Matt Ryan. And their defense getting better with, go figure, Stephon Gilmore. Kansas City lost Tyreek Hill, but added Juju Smith-Schuster. So they kind of stayed the same for the most part. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster is nowhere near Tyreek Hill, but he's still a very talented wide receiver. Raiders got Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones. Broncos got Russell Wilson, so they now have a quarterback. Your Browns got Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper, and they still have Baker Mayfield, who they could still get pieces with him. And let's just not forget that the Bengals were in the Super Bowl. The Bills got Von Miller, as you just mentioned, and the Titans are still solid. The Chargers were one game away from the playoffs last year, and the Ravens are right there also. And you do pretty much nothing. You get rid of Shaq Mason, that's what you do for the most part. You trade him to Tom Brady.
Shaq Mason's gone. Ted Karras went to Cincinnati. Yeah.
You get...
And you haven't re-signed any linebackers yet.
And you lost J.C. Jackson. And you signed Malcolm Butler back.
And
that was your move.
You didn't get any... None of your linebackers are still a free agent.
Dante Hightower is still a free agent. Jamie Collins.
I think Jawan Bentley is your best linebacker on paper.
He probably is.
Which is...
He probably is.
Kind of sad to say.
You traded Chase Winovich for Mac Wilson. Was that a good move? I don't know much.
Mac Wilson's a role player. He's
not better than Chase Winovich. You would have to say.
Yeah, you kind of traded trash for trash.
Okay.
Except, you know what's funny? You know, Chase Winovich in the entire league was number 1 in or number 2 in in quarterback pressures.
Well, that's
in
my
the past
point.
2 seasons.
That's my point. He
actually
does something on the field.
Yeah, he actually was kind of good.
I mean, Chase Winovich is older than Mac Wilson. I have seen that
by like a year. They were drafted the same year.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh,
they were drafted in 2018.
I thought Mac Wilson was like 24, 25, something like that. Never mind. Scratch that.
They're both about 25.
I think Chase Winovich is like 28.
No, he's
really?
He's been in the league for 3 years. He's been in the league for 3 years because he was drafted Tom Brady's last year. All right, 27.
Yeah, 27.
Just turned 27.
And
Mac Wilson's got to be probably about 24, 25.
So you got an extra 3 years for the most part from doing that trade.
As if he.
But here's the difference: Mac Wilson has not shown anything, as you just mentioned, because you're a Browns fan. While Chase Winovich has shown that he can at least give some pressure to the quarterback. At least he's shown something. So there you go. You downgraded there too. I mean, I gotta read you some comments from my Patriots reaction when I was saying, hey, Patriots are not looking good. Are not gonna look good next season. The people who are saying how this narrative is with the Patriots is ridiculous. I've seen so many people predict the Patriots going 12-5 or like 13-4 or like 11-6. How can you say that after this offseason that they have had? How can you say that? Where is it? I've had a couple of them. Here we go. I'm not gonna name names, obviously, but somebody mentioned, bro, we're good in a much better place than Patriot fan folks are giving credit for. Don't call yourself a fan spewing this garbage. Like, how can you... Here's what I gotta say. When you think your team's not producing like they should be, right? What are you supposed to say? Oh, we're fine. Oh, we're good. We're gonna be all right. You can't criticize about them? Can you agree with that?
Yeah, you should be able to criticize them.
And it's like, it's so blatant. Where so many AFC teams got better while the Patriots did little to nothing to improve their team. And that's on Bill. How do people think that Bill Belichick can't do anything wrong? Here's a good comment right here. You don't know nothing. You are a name sucker. Just like these other analysts. Is that laughable?
That doesn't even make sense to me. But
that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's clear as day that your team has gotten worse and the league and your conference has got better.
Your division has
gotten better. And by the way, is it crazy to say that the Jets are, I shouldn't say back in the race, but they got better and
they had a better offseason. They had a much
better offseason
head
than you did.
and shoulders above.
They had a better draft than you did.
I would say that the Jets are probably about, if the trend continues like this, where you don't make a lot of moves, and Robert Saleh seems to be an actual head coach, like a competent head coach, not like Adam Gase or Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
You might see eventually in 2 years, 3 years, the Jets overtake the.
That's fair. That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement.
I don't think the rookies this year will do. I think I like their rookies, but they need a year.
They need time.
They need time.
Right. And that's what that's the only reason why I'm saying right now you're still better than the Jets is because they need time.
But it's close. But it's closer than it has been.
It's closer than it has been in the few seasons. And you guys are saying, "Oh, they're gonna go 12-5. They're gonna go 13 and whatever to make the playoffs. They're gonna go to the second round. Blah blah blah." Like, dude, it's okay to say that Bill made a bad move. Here's a take. Who's more annoying? Those Patriot fans who are saying Bill can't do anything wrong, or the Green Teamers?
I always say Patriots fans are the worst.
It has to be.
They've always been the worst fans.
Oh, it's part of the game plan. He's planned this all along. Yeah,
he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
As Mash would say. Thank you guys for watching this podcast. Glad to have Mike back on here.
Good to be back.
Yep. Got to catch you sooner again.
Yep.
You got more time on your hands now, as you've been telling me, so you'll be back a lot more. And I've been seeing people say too, like on Instagram and whatnot, the podcast is not the same with just me or whatever. So like to have that two-man game on the podcast or whatever. So glad to have you here.
Of course, always glad to be here.
Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like down below if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe now if you guys are new. You guys know what to do. Go check out our website.
Yep.
I can't say mine now because you're actually here. Links in the description down below. If you guys want to donate to us to help us go to games and all that, my Venmo is in the description down below. We haven't been able to access the Beantown Takes one. So go to my Venmo account if you guys want to donate. Anything helps. Appreciate all the love, support. It's been Jesse.
It's been Mike.
And we're gone. See you later, guys.
Beantown.
Beantown.